So we're on chapter 28. Let's get started. On the last day of school, I worry that I will cry when I say goodbye to Mr. Lafkin. I know that if I do, no one, not my friends or Phineas, will ever let me forget it. I'll see you the year after next in my writing class, Mr. Lafkin says to me. Hopefully, I say. I know there's a lot of competition to get in. You'll be in, he says quickly. I take it as a promise. Next scene. The first day of summer, I wake up and stretch in bed, feeling all my muscles and joints. It's early still, just after 7, but the sun is bright in my window. I sit up and rub my eyes. A story idea has been bouncing around in my head for the past few days. Suddenly it feels like the perfect moment to write. I'm not sure where the story begins, but I know what I want to happen. Like most of my stories, it will end up tragically. I sit down at my desk without eating or brushing my teeth. I hesitate for a moment, then type my first sentence. The day Edward died, I dropped a vase of tulips while walking up the stairs. I begin to describe the tulips, red, and the white porcelain vase smashed against the dark wood of the staircase. I'm not sure what the significance of the tulips is yet. It will come to me. About 10 o'clock, I have a rough draft, 5 pages. I'm pleased with myself. The narrator was the accidental murderess. Her gift has left her reeling in near madness, and I close on the first image, the blood-red flowers, the broken innocence of the white vase. Next scene. My mother is reading the newspaper in the kitchen when I skip downstairs. She looks up at me over the rim of the paper. In a good mood, she says. I nod. It's the first day of summer, and I've already killed someone off, I say. In a story? Ah. She goes back to reading. The phone rings and I pick it up. Autumn? And Angelina's voice says after I say hello. Hey, I'll get Mom, I say. My mother looks up. No, actually, Autumn, I wanted you. Oh. My immediate thought is that something has happened to Finney. I'm going to tear down my classroom today, and my good-for-nothing son counseled on me. Do you think he can help me? I'll make it worth your while. Oh, sure, I say. It's been a long time since I've been inside our elementary school. I'm curious, and spending time with Aunt Angelina can be fun. Really? Can you be over in 15 minutes? Easy, I say. She thanks me and reiterates the promise of making it worth my while. What was that? My mother says. Aunt Angelina needs someone to help her tear down her classroom, I say. Where's Finney? I shrug. It isn't like Finney to counsel on his mother, but I felt odd asking. I have a fear of someone suspecting how often I wonder about Finney. I always try to not show too much interest, just in case. Next scene. Finney opens the back door when I knock. His face is blank. He doesn't look startled to see me, even though I'm sure that I do look surprised. He does not react to my face. Oh, hi, I say. I thought you were gone. I'm about to be, he says. His voice is as sterile as his face. And Angelina comes in the room with a bundle of portfolio books and canvas bags. How long will you be? She says. I don't know, Finney says. I'll come by if I can. Sorry. It's fine, kiddo. Get going. Bye, Finney says. He sidesteps me and leaves out the back door. The step is quick on the stairs. I look up at Angelina. I wasn't intending to ask, but it must be plain on my face. She knows I know Finney well enough to see when something is wrong. He didn't say, she says, but it's something with Sylvie. Oh, I say. I hope that my face and voice give no more away. Aunt Angelina hands me some of her things and we go outside. I glance at the spot where Finney parks in the driveway, even though I know he won't be there. We don't talk as we load up the truck and pull out of the driveway. It's a short ride to the school. Less than a minute later, we are only a few blocks away. So Finney tells me you're thinking of teaching, Aunt Angelina says to me. I shrug and then nod. Gotta do something practical, I say. I think it could be fun. It is, she says. She pauses and she makes a left-hand turn down the street next to the school. But it takes a lot of dedication. I don't say anything. She parks the car and turns off the engine. You have to decide You have time to decide though, she says. We unload the car and walk through the side door of the school where Finney and I grew up. It's an old building from the 1920s, dark brick, high ceilings, long narrow windows on every wall. Whenever I see or hear the word school, this building is the picture that comes to my mind. As I cross the threshold, I think how I don't have as much time to decide as I once did. When I was a student here, anything in the world seemed possible. It hadn't seemed like a dream to move far away and write books. It had seemed like a plan. At 10, I hadn't thought wanting to be a writer was impractical. Wanting to be a pirate princess was impractical, and I had put that dream aside. But I'm older now, and I realize that a career of nothing but writing stories all day is as likely as marrying my dream pirate prince. I've done the research. Getting published is nearly impossible, and those few who make it, only a fraction can live off their work. If it was just about me, I could wait tables in the day and write all night and be happy. But there's Jamie now, and he wants to buy a house and raise children with me. He says I'm perfect. He says I'm all he wants. I can't disappoint him. Aunt Angelina unlocks the door to her classroom and we step inside. I realize now why she wanted me and not my mother. The room is even more disorganized and lively than Aunt Angelina's home. There's a half-finished mural on the wall that was a quarter finished when we graduated 4 years ago. Prints from both famous and obscure artists line every other wall and cover the entire ceiling. The window ledges are lined with sculptures and various three-dimensional arts. On her desk is an asymmetrical shaped vase filled with flowers made of newspaper. I know from asking years ago that the newspaper is from the day Finney was born. On the wall behind her desk is the only framed art, a drawing we did together in the 3rd grade of a landscape littered with unicorns, soccer balls, explosions, and puppies. The soccer balls and explosions are much better drawn than the unicorns or puppies. Finney was always better at drawing than me. I love art class anyway, though. Every year, Aunt Angelina made her seating chart so that we sat together at the smallest table in the corner that was only big enough for 2. Most of our teachers thought Finney and I were too focused on each other. They wanted us to make other friends and often set us opposite sides of the room. It never worked. If you could start wrapping up the sculptures at the window, Aunt Angelina says, I need to clean out this desk. She sighs and eyes the mounds of paper spilling over the surface. We'll be here a while. At the window, I can see the hill I used to sit on and read while Finney played kickball or soccer with the boys. I didn't mind that he played with them for that half hour. I always wanted to read at recess, and we would never be together after school anyway. Sometimes I put down my book and watched him play, and I would try to send mental messages to him. Look up now, I would think, or that was a good kick. I was convinced that he could hear me, because sometimes he would look up at me watching him and smile. I never mentioned our secret telepathic conversations, though. I knew that we spoke about it out loud. I knew that if we spoke about it out loud, the magic would stop working. And Angelina turns on the radio. I wrap the sculptures up in tissue paper and fill the canvas bags with them. And Angelina hums along with the music. I think about the story I started this morning. I'm proud of it. I'll print it off tonight and give it to Jamie tomorrow. Only the top of the desk is cleared off by the time I'm done. The drawers are all open and files are spilling out. Without being asked, I begin to take the posters down off the wall, making a blue ball of sticky tack that gets larger and larger as the minutes pass. I go one wall at a time, standing on a chair when they get too high for me, and Angelina sighs just as I'm almost done. Autumn, she says. I would have been here all day, thank you. No problem, I say. It's kind of fun being here. You should go see Miss Morganson's before we go. She still asks about you. Maybe, I say. I feel shy about going to see my favorite teacher. I'm not sure where the feeling comes from. I take the last poster off the wall and slide it into the portfolio book. The ball of sticky tack is nearly as big as my fist now. I throw it toward the ground, but instead of bouncing, it sticks to the linoleum with a thud. Darn, I mumble. I bend to pick it up and set it on the nearest table. Okay, Aunt Angelina says. She drops a stack of books and papers onto the top of the desk. Her trash can is overflowing. If you can get the posters off the ceiling, I'll clean out the covers and we can start loading up the car. Cool, I say. I jump up on one of the tables and start plucking tacks out of the ceiling. A familiar song comes on the oldie station and we both start singing. I start to sway in the music and I grin. I always wanted to do this, I say. Do what? Angelina says. And Angelina says, dance on these tables. Every time I was in here, I imagined it. She smiles and reaches over to turn up the music. We start to sing again, and the next song is another favorite. I dance around the table with my arms above my head as I pluck each poster from its place. I even come up with a special shimmy move for when I need to bend down to set the posters on the table. It isn't until the radio switches to a slow song that I hear his soft laugh behind me. There's my long-lost son, and Angelina says. Sorry I'm late. Finney looks at us from the doorway, his hands in his pockets, his head cocked to the side, and the corners of his mouth twitching upward. I want to glare at him for laughing at me, but I'm too relieved that he looks happy again. I can hear you guys all the way down the hall, he says. Autumn is fulfilling a childhood dream, and Angelina says. Yeah, I remember, Finney says. He crosses the threshold and looks from my face to hers. What can I do, he says. Put that ridiculous height of yours to use and take down the posters Autumn can't reach from the tables, she says. Finney is well over 6 feet now. Soccer and track kept him from becoming scrawny as he stretched out over the winter. He's as slender and lightly muscled as before. And Angelina likes to complain about how much he eats. My dancing is done now. The three of us work quietly at the radio. As the radio continues to blare. Even with his height, Finney needs a chair to reach the high ceiling. I move to another table and he gets all the posters in between. With two of us, we finish before her again. Done, Finney says. He drags the chair across the floor and back to its place. I stay standing on the table, not quite willing to give up the dream yet. Go say hi to Mrs. Morganson, and Angelina says. I saw her car pull up a few minutes ago. Okay, Finney says. He looks over at me. I shrug in assent and jump off the table, flat-footed. My sneakers smack against the linoleum loudly. We walk side by side out into the hall. The radio fades behind us as we walk, and when we reach the stairs, the building suddenly is eerily quiet. All my memories of this place are much louder. The wooden banister is smooth and familiar beneath my hand. I dreamed of dancing on the art tables and sliding down these banisters and climbing to the tops of the bookshelves in the library. I loved it here, so much that I didn't even realize I loved it. Even though I look forward to summer, I cried every last day of school. I didn't cry yesterday. And of course, the other kids thought I was weird for liking school, but that was just another quirk among many that Finney had to defend me for. I cautiously look over at him, wondering what he's thinking, if his memories are as happy as mine. By all means, I should have felt like an outcast here. Pariah. I probably said that wrong. And Finney should have been the popular boy he is now. I wasn't because of him, and he wasn't because of me. Finney looks to the side and catches me staring. I face forward again. He doesn't say anything. At the door of Mrs. Morganson's room, he knocks and smiles softly into the window. Through the wood, I hear a startled gasp. I step to the side as Finney opens the door. Phineas! I hear her familiar voice cry before I see her. I hope that I will see you today. Of course, Finney says. Her pleasure causes the faintest of blushes to spread across his cheeks. Our favorite teacher leans forward and hugs him to her through the threshold, and I see her for the first time in years. She looks just a bit older, like she's moving from middle age to the edge of elderly. Still, I instantly recognize the brooch on her blouse and the smell of her perfume. She sees me as she pulls away. I feel something sharp in me during the half second of confusion in her eyes. Then her smile widens. And you brought Autumn? She says. Her arms are quickly transferred to me, and relief washes through my body. I had feared that she would recoil from this teenage tiara and ripped jeans me. That her affection for me would be reserved for the pretty little girl I had been. Come and sit, she says. She leads us into her classroom, half torn down, half familiar. She pulls out a chair and motions for us to sit down. The destined chairs feel just a tiny bit too small. Now tell me what you've been up to, she says. Mrs. Morganson looks at us expectantly. Finny and I glance at each other, the same way we do when we are concerned by the mothers. No, cornered by the mothers. I haven't been up to much, I say. You won that poetry contest, he says. I shrugged. That wasn't much, I say. Of course it is, Mrs. Morganson says, though I'm not that surprised. It was just within the school, I say. They picked one from each grade and printed them in the yearbook, that's all. But she won the overall prize too, Finny says. She beat seniors. It's not a big deal, I say, because it isn't. The other winner's submission ranged from trite to cliched. It wasn't a hard crowd to beat. Mrs. Morganson's laugh. Well, you two haven't changed a bit, she says. I frown without giving my face permission to do so. She doesn't notice. Your mother told me that you started track this spring, she says to him. Finny tells her about the team taking bronze at regionals. He does not mention that it was something they never could have dreamed of before Finny joined them. I wasn't being humble, but he is. As I listen, I let my gaze wander around. I know it's impossible that every day I spent in here was happy, but that is how I remembered it. Finny's punch to Donnie Banks' gut effectively ended any teasing from the boys' side. 11 was the age when all the girls decided to have crushes on Finny, and they knew being snotty to me wouldn't get them far. Not that it helped them either. Finny was never interested in girls. The only girl I have ever heard of him having feelings for is Sylvie Whitehouse. I frown again, trying to see for the millionth time how Finny, who is devoted to his mother, never has a bad word for anyone, and who every winter shovels the driveway of the old lady across the street and refuses to take $1 for it, can be in love with the girl known for her drunken antics and dirty mind. It's so nice seeing both of you, Mrs. Morganson says, and my mind moves back to the moment. It is nice to know you're still such good friends. Finny and I both glance over at each other and look away again quickly. His cheeks are already turning a deep pink. It's not as if we can correct her. Or, she asks, are you more than just friends by now? And I realize she was misinterpreted his blush. Finny turns red. No, I say. I look back at her and shake my head. No. By her startled expression, it occurs to me that I denied it perhaps a bit too vehemently to be polite. I just mean I've been with my boyfriend for almost 2 years now. Well, by the end of the summer, it will be, so no. Oh, I see, she says. And what's he like? He's 5th in our class, I say. Finny is 3rd, and he's really good to me. Well, I knew that, she says. Otherwise, Finny wouldn't let him near you. She smiles and I fake a laugh. Finny doesn't say anything. Actually, Phineas, she continues, I think your mother did say something about you and a girlfriend last time I asked. Oh, yeah, Finny says. He stands up. Speaking of Mom, we should probably go. We're supposed to help load the car. We are hugged again. We promise to come back again sometime. Mrs. Morganson tells me to send her some poems and embarrass. I try to laugh it off. Finny closes the door behind us and we head toward the staircase again. I think about Mrs. Morganson's memories of us. Of course, she would have no reason to think we'd be anything less than close as friends. When I let myself remember how we used to be, it is hard to believe things could change so quickly. I think about Mrs. Morganson saying we hadn't changed, and I think of the girl I used to be here in this school. I want it to be true. I don't want to be different from her. I'm going to do it, I say to Finny when he reaches the stairs. We both stop. Do what? I'm going to slide down the banister, I say. I grab the railing with both hands and throw my leg over. Hold on, Finny says. Let me get to the bottom so I can catch you if you fall. I roll my eyes as he rushes down the stairs. You're ridiculous, I shout down to him. My voice bounces through the corridor. You're wearing a tiara and straddling a banister. He calls back up to me. I let him win and wait until he poised, ready at the bottom. They must have just polished the wood. I fly down I have to catch myself at the bottom so that I don't fall to the floor. Finney grabs my elbow, but I right myself quickly and his hand drops. That actually looked like fun, he says. It was, I say, and Angelina stumbles into the hallway carrying a potted tree that is clearly too heavy for her. Finney rushes to take it from her, and the three of us load up the car quickly. Can you come to lunch with us, or are you going back to Sylvie's? And Angelina says, when we are done, standing by the car. Finney's face returns to the blank look from this morning. I need to go back, he says evenly. All right, she says. She reaches up on her tiptoes to kiss his cheek. Thank you for coming to help. Of course, he says. Bye. He glances at me and walks to his red car across the street. At the diner nearby, and Angelina chats with me about my plans for the summer and our visit with Mrs. Morganson. I tell her about sliding down the banister and Finney standing at the bottom. She laughs. Sometimes you two are just so predictable, she says, making me think of Mrs. Morganson's comment again. We talk of other things of the rest of lunch, and it isn't until we are walking to the car that she brings him up again. I don't suppose he told you what's going on with Sylvie, Aunt Angelina says. I shake my head. I suppose I didn't really think so, she says. She changes the subject again. That was actually long, and I honestly didn't enjoy it. I felt like I would enjoy one part, but then I don't know what happened. I guess it just didn't. It didn't do what it was supposed to do. This video is already 21 minutes long, so I don't need to be talking that much. Until next time, y'all. Good night.